Right guys, Mark Crossfield here talking with Ping at the HQ in Phoenix in their Enzo room where I've tried to hit a slice shot, a classic kind of cut shot or slice shot that you'll see amateurs use, just to see how the data looks or any different to some of the other data I might have produced from hitting my standard shot. Some interesting information about maybe how we learn the game or have learnt the game, might be right or wrong. There's some interesting stuff in here. Post comments down below as always. Let me know if you like the Ping Tech Talks. Let's get stuck in. But if I hit one trying to, you know, big old cut swing, you know, your average amateur,
yeah.
You know, that kind of swing. Should
we put the net up?
No, I can. So I'll try and go like, you know, 6 to 10 across it.
I recognise that shot.
That's a functional one, no, it's hitting the line.
You can't miss a fairway if you try.
Don't say that.
Alright. So I'm interested in the handle there.
Okay.
Speeds changing or not.
So again, just
Pretty similar.
pretty similar, 19 down to 16, but maybe a little
That's
slightly
interesting.
less, but
One thing we've learned from this, getting 250 different people coming through from beginners to pros, is there are certain aspects of the swing that are very easy for people to change, and there are certain things that are really tough to change. And some of this stuff, like how much do you offend the shaft?
Yeah.
It's really tough for you to change that
Oh,
and
absolutely.
make a functional swing.
Yeah.
And some of the handle stuff, it's just kind of how you swing a golf club. And
And your biomechanics.
and you're
Right.
for all the different shots you're playing,
I also-
that's not changing.
yeah.
But there's all sorts of other stuff that are changing. So
I
seeing
think
what's
with handle
fixed,
stuff as well though, I just think there's been it's like starting golf again. It's like starting golf tuition again. You know, I teach guys who've played for 20 years who've been trying to hit a position on their backswing.
Right.
And I say to them, I want you to move the hand in a different way, get the head to catch up with the hand in a different way, those kind of thoughts. And it's like them restarting golf because they've never, like, if you get kids and teach them to actually feel a bit more like almost how I'm feeling it there, that's actually the skill. So it's, for me, the skill for me in golf is that I can deliver numbers. I can have more loft, take it off, I can hit. What was my club path there?
10 degrees outside in.
So I said I'm going to go 6 to 10 outside in.
And angle of
And
attack,
I
4 down.
4.5.
Yeah, I would have called that. So that's a skill that your average Joe hasn't even got. They don't even know you can practice that skill because they think the skill is ball position and grip and backswing. So I agree that yes, it's hard to change those things, but maybe it's really hard because we haven't had 200 years of practicing changing those things.
No, that's true.
You see what
But
I
there are
mean?
certain things that
As a
are,
coach, that's how I look.
there are certain things that are easy to change for a swing. Like
Yeah.
you're able to get a completely different ball flight by changing certain things about your swing.
Yeah.
But that's not, when you're doing that, you're not fundamentally changing like how you pull on the shaft.
Yeah.
That's
The shaft deflection on that one, for instance, was basically identical to the previous.
So is it for us learning like what stays the same?
Even though it's a completely different way you're delivering that club, the shaft is still bending the same way.
Yeah.
And club head
So-
speed was still 98.
Yeah, so I'm pulling on the shaft exactly the same way. I'm just changing angles. I'm just twisting my hip as such.
You're changing the things you need to change to get the ball flight, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't, you're not completely rebuilding your swing from scratch.
Yeah.
every time you do
I
that.
see what you.
So it's it's different in teaching,
Yeah.
right, as you are helping someone rebuild a swing.
Yeah.
But in a fitting scenario, or just on the golf course, of like I need to hit a low cut. There are
Yeah.
certain things that you're changing about your swing, and there are certain things that stay the same.
Yeah. So have you guys? I think I've seen have you guys done a study of where's cut-off point? Where can I not affect this club at any? At what point does it get into where I'm done? Does that make sense?
It's a slightly unfair question
because you hear people say
because you are affecting it all the way down.
Yeah.
But you can't send a signal from the. You can't
Quick
react
enough.
to something.
Yeah.
Send a signal to your muscles. So it's not you can't get to here and then make a decision that you need to do something and affect it.
Well,
But you may have made the decision up here. It's actually not kicking into it.
It
So
manifests itself at the bottom.
it's a little unfair
you
to
know,
say that you
and-
can't and you can't affect it.
and-
You are. You just can't decide to affect it.
Yeah.
So
0.1 seconds is a pretty good cut.
because
If
my
a guy
question.
reacts to the gun in a 100-meter final in less than 0.1 seconds, it's called a false start,
Right.
right? Because the brain can't react that fast. Well,
Yeah.
0.1 seconds takes you from like here to impact,
Yeah.
right? The whole downswing is only a quarter of a second.
Yeah.
So you can't make a decision starting here. You can't feel something here and have time to react to it.
So, are you measuring angles on this? So, could you tell me the angle of my face at this point of the backswing?
Yes.
You know, like Gears does. You know, it will tell me my face orientation at every point.
Yeah.
Because obviously, the common one you get is people, and I don't like it. You know, they say, "Oh, he reacted to that one, or he pulled out, he held that one off," or you know, you get commentators say it all the time. Those kind of things. I just think that's ridiculous, is it not?
Yeah, there,
As in, if I was to get to the same position here on the downswing, orientation of the head, would I be able to deliver different? So would I be able to get a number of swings where I get to this point, so same angle of shaft, same orientation of the head, but deliver one where the face is there and one where the face is there?
you can hit the same position if you have different velocities and accelerations
into that
through
Yeah,
there.
so yes.
That's the key.
So I
It's
hit
in,
that position going with a
Yeah.
or a torque
yeah.
less that way at that point, but it's hit that
You
position.
can absolutely hit the same positions and have totally different results.
I wonder if I could do it consciously.
Well, it might be that it feels like.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's
As
a
in-
point like Paul says,
As in,
it's too
where,
late.
where do I lose
Right.
control? That's my
Yeah.
question. Like at what point am I?
Yeah.
I guess it's as soon as I get out of my car and decide I'm playing golf, isn't it?
Yeah. If you take it back,
I've lost it. Should have stayed at home.
if you get to the top and it's in a different spot and you can feel that, you've got time up here, but it may be that you feel like you're doing it down here.
Yeah.
Because as a coach,
So that may be the difference. It may be that you feel like you're bailing out in the middle of the downswing, you're bailing yourself out of it. But in reality, you're actually feeling something at the top and you do have time up there.
yeah. Because
So-
as a coach, I'm obviously thinking, you know, I deliver sentences. Feel this, flick that forward, spin that out. These kind of words. But I'm really interested in like what effects are they actually do? Because they're also, oh yeah, I felt like I flicked that one forward, and I know, well, you couldn't affect that. I mean, I couldn't feel that here, even though I'm telling them to do it here. I'm wondering, and obviously because I can't measure, I'm only measuring there. At what point in the process are they actually doing it? Does that make sense to my question?
Yeah.
That's
Probably mostly from like close to
transition
transitioned into here.
Yeah.
You know, and then a lot of this stuff you're kind of hanging on and slowing down.
Because you've got a lot of forces
You know.
right now. I'm literally just
Yeah.
hanging on to them.
Yeah.
So me trying to flick it should be so early on.
Which is what I always say to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Well,
You can't
but
do it too early.
you probably don't want to overthink it too much because,
Well, you've not played with him.
well, in the sense that
Don't watch these vlogs when they come out.
He needs to think hard.
But if you're feeling like you're doing it here and it's working, if you now sort of try to consciously think I should do it earlier, you're probably going to really screw things up.
Yeah,
Then it could be too early.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that last swing where I was 10 across, is there a measurement of where the handle was in relationship to the head?
Yes.
At
it's a
impact?
little more difficult to get to.
Okay. And is it what's it taken off that? I guess.
So there's a number of
Where's
ways.
zero?
So there's in our reports we actually show a couple different numbers. So you kind of have, all right, face on.
Yeah.
Am I forward or that?
Yeah.
But then you need to. I could be forward like this, but the face is completely shut.
Yeah.
So if you actually go in line where with Paul is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
my hands are way forward.
Yeah, well, that's
and
my-
So that's what's affecting your
So
lock.
if I'm zero path there,
Yeah.
and you're measuring zero as straight on in front of me, my 10 across could equally be zero.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Because you're looking.
Because that's my zero.
Yeah. So for us, when we
So my right angle off there is zero. So I'm not hitting it. So for me to hit my cut, I feel like I'm doing this.
right.
Am I?
Well, then
Do you see what I mean?
If
Does
your
that-
face is way open and I look at it this way along the face like this, your hands are actually behind.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
behind
yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
And so I mean, it's just so that's where when we generate our reports, we kind of have a couple different measures depending on what we're trying to understand the effect
Yeah,
from.
yeah,
So
yeah.
for loft, if we're trying to say, all right, somebody's hand, delivering it with a lot of loft, and they're like this, right? If I go over here and I look at it kind of down
Yeah,
the
just
score lines,
all you've done there is twisted it
my
right
hand,
back.
I twisted it,
Yeah.
but effectively I'm moving my hands behind everything, right? Because if I look at it down where the face is pointed, my
Yeah, yeah.
hands are way back. Even though from this line it looks like I'm neutral,
Yeah, yeah.
my hands are actually back. So whether there's a couple of different ways to get there, I
Yeah.
could physically go like this,
Yeah.
right? Or I could just do that, and you're technically kind of moving your hand back of kind of the target line.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of all perspective and kind of
Yeah, it's kind of that 3D.
what your frame of reference
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Does
Does it show you can't get the impact number of it? Is that it's
Not easy. I'm trying to think of
what measurement it would
measure
be?
that would actually.
Yeah, that's a
it's-
calculation we do
Oh,
in
is
our
it? That's
program.
not
Exactly,
okay.
yeah.
That's fine.
So we end up taking the coordinate system up here and actually doing some projections and
Right.
some calculations to get that number. So
yeah, yeah.
when we do a
Is it
test,
internally?
we process everything
Yeah.
and generate. We can actually. Do you want to pull up a test report? Can you pull up a?
Do we have one?
Can we even
Do
get
Do you
onto it?
measure? Do you measure as well the angle? A lot of people would try and argue is plane on those. Are you measuring the angle
Mm-hmm.
Oh
of the
yeah,
shafts?
Yeah.
yeah, swing, yeah.
We've done some of our own verification of kind of how much is actually planar, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever
Because surely
read
plane
any
is
of
a
those.
simplistic way of thinking about. It's like just an easy way to explain maybe what that is, because it's. Because obviously, so many people. My biggest issue with the word plane is that most amateurs relate it to path. So as in, I could swing at this angle and have a 0 path, and I could equally swing at that angle and have a 0 path. Where
Yeah.
people think upright is out to in and flat is in to out, where they're not actually related in any way, are they? They're different measurements in effect. So
But there was some work done on what is the functional swing plane,
yeah,
right? And so there was some work done by the research phase on kind of club shaft parallel over
Yeah.
to the ground over here, parallel over here. In our research with Enzo, is pretty well validated that that's a good estimate.
yeah.
You can kind of look at it
So
from
waist
from
height,
parallel
waist
to parallel.
Yeah.
And
It's
in,
kind of what Trackman would do, isn't it? That's what they're calling the plane.
Yeah.
They're measuring
Yeah.
from there to there,
yeah.
and they're measuring the sweet spot in effect, or what they think is the sweet spot, I guess. And then delivering that plane. So it's not there. It's
You can actually. I'll pull a test report up and.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more videos. Find me on Instagram at Crossfield Mark. Also on Twitter at 4golfonline. Find me on Facebook, Mark Crossfield. Thanks for watching. Post comments as always, and see you soon.